was a queen. She lived in Queens.
Hi lovelies, happy new year. Welcome to 2021. So today I will be doing a video about the 5 things that Queen Lovelee is suggesting and encouraging that you leave in 2020. Before I get into this video, please hit the thumbs up and comment below to let me know what you're leaving in 2020. So let's get into the video. The first thing on this list is lack of self-preservation. I believe self-preservation is something very important that everybody should, cultivate with themselves, because it's very easy to be manipulated. It's very easy to be misguided and preyed on when people could see that you have a tendency to put everyone before you, and people see you as someone that tries to be all things to all people, putting yourself last. When you begin to put yourself first, you will see that you will make personal strides when it comes to your goals and endeavors. And you will see a light be restored in you. When you're trying to, show up for this person and show up for that person and be this and be that, and you're always saying yes to people, but you don't say yes to yourself, you find that you begin to become broken down emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. You also have to realize, in order for you to show up for people who truly deserve it and that you truly value and they value you back, you have to show up for yourself first, and you have to value yourself first, okay? The way in which people treat you, the way in which people view you, and the way in which people, compartmentalize and prioritize you in their lives is a direct reflection of how you compartmentalize and prioritize your own self-needs and self-value. Number 2, policing and monitoring people's lives and ways of being. Please leave this in 2020. It is very imperative that in 2021, you set an intention to become more self-aware of the ratio of thoughts you lend to others in comparison to the thoughts you lend to yourself. Spending an excessive amount of time investing emotional labor into the lives of others, you realize that it has a tendency to stagnate us in our own lives. So some of the benefits of doing away with this shadow trait that some of us may be guilty of is you'll become more aware of how much time you waste on things that don't have a direct, substantial impact to your overall being. You will be practicing mindfulness and institute a sense of control over your life and well-being. You will exercise your will and energy in a more productive way that will benefit you in the long run. Number 3, stop denying your shadow side and your traits. Leave this in 2020. Learning and embracing your shadow side is a direct rite of passage to healing. To learn and embrace your non-redeemable qualities about yourself is to free yourself from a mental and emotional enslavement of embarrassment and a need to be something you are not. Everybody has the duality of good and evil. I have spoken about that several times on this channel. If you want more information about that, you could sign up for my spiritual hub on Patreon. But a lot of people tend to, and I think because we live in this time of, quote unquote cancel culture, and people have a tendency to attack you and they just be sitting on ready behind their keyboards and phone screens. A lot of people have more pressure, especially in my generation. I'm 25 years old, to be perfect and to do everything right and say everything right. And, to silence their true selves because they're afraid of that embarrassment. They're afraid of that criticism. They're afraid of that controversy. However, the reality of the situation is when you can acknowledge your lower vibrational qualities about yourself, it's easier to remedy and moderate how often they show up. So if you can point out something that is a disservice to you, it's a non-redeemable quality of yours, it becomes easier to, get to the root of that and remedy that and be more self-aware when you find yourself on the verge of exuding those shadow traits. Number 4, putting pressure on yourself and being unkind to your soul's journey. Please leave this in 2020. Saturn has left Capricorn. That grind culture, that I'll sleep when I'm dead, that is no longer at the moment. Saturn is now in Aquarius, and this is the perfect time to be as unconventional and rebellious to what people have been influencing you to do or the type of life to live. Learning to truly enjoy the process and give yourself grace makes it easier for you to accomplish your goals. Believe it or not, when you set out to accomplish a goal and you remind yourself that I am enough and I've done enough, it subconsciously reprograms you to make strides towards your goal at your pace without killing yourself. Not overworking yourself physically and mentally gives you more stamina, confidence, and energy not to burn out, and it makes more likely you'll accomplish your goal. So this may require you to take a break from social media. I find when I speak to a lot of my clients and even some of my community members that comment on my spiritual hub on Patreon or even under my YouTube channel, Melanated Crowns, a lot of people tend to be hard on themselves and, go down the rabbit hole of getting anxious about not doing enough or getting depressed because they're constantly comparing and contrasting themselves on these public forums and these social media sites. So you have to be aware of your triggers and what makes you overwork yourself and what makes you put pressure on yourself and be unkind to yourself. And you have to take control in 2021 and do away with those things that trigger you. Last but not least, number 5, parasites and low vibrational people. Please do yourself a favor. Do your mental, emotional, and spiritual being a favor, okay? And leave these people in 2021. It is very clear that you begin to establish boundaries, and part of that means compartmentalizing and reprioritizing relationships with people like this. Understanding that your loyalty, duty, and responsibility to most people will have an expiration date makes it easier for you to do away with relationships that no longer add value to your life. You would be surprised at how much lighter you'll feel when you no longer have to force a relationship with someone who is not on your frequency of vibe. So when it comes to growth and ascension and elevation, especially if you intentionally or even unintentionally embark on a spiritual, reset and deprogram, that you'll find that you no longer connect with people. And even if taking spirituality out of the equation, in life, you just naturally outgrow people. Everybody that you start with is not going to finish with you. And that's because we all have our individual soul purposes and we all have our karmic destinies. And, it's good to just remind yourself that people come into your life to serve a purpose. That purpose can be long. It could be short. It could even be a day. I've had some situations where I've literally met a complete stranger, and I'll do a story time about this if y'all want to hear it, and spent the whole entire day with him, and he taught me something. So we have to get to a place where we trust God's vision, our ancestors' vision, the universe, whatever you believe in, and we connect to our higher selves and we allow our higher selves to lead us when it comes to making transitions and changes to our lives that may scare us because of how people will react. People tend to stay in situations and relationships much longer than, God intends for us, because somehow in our mind, we go against God's vision for us because we may not understand or we may not be aware, and we create a vision of what we want this to be and how we want it to begin and how we want it to end. And sometimes that does more harm than good. Being able to, get rid of people who are parasites, people who are low vibrational, people who are not progressing at the same speed of you, it's a feeling of liberation, and it will create a domino effect in other areas of your life for you to end and begin things. You will send a direct message to the universe that you are ready for new people and experiences that align with your frequency. And that completes the list that Queen Lovelee has constructed on Melanated Crowns of the 5 things that you need to leave in 2020. Be sure below to add some things to the list. Let me know what you're leaving in 2020. Let me know what intentions you are setting. And if you would like to book your own personal personal spiritual advising session with me or intuitive session, be sure to refer to the link that is pinned in the comments as well as my description box. Thank you so much for watching. And before I leave, I also want to inform you that I do have a spiritual hub on Patreon now. There are 3 tiers. There is the Lovelee tier, the gold tier, and the platinum tier. The platinum tier, which is $10, offers all of the content, which is monthly and weekly tarot readings for all zodiac signs, blog posts, as well as new and full moon readings and rituals and suggested bath recipes you could take, and other things that I will be offering in the near future after my schedule clears up after February 15th. So have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. Happy New Year.